Hey, so I've been talking to everybody about this article from Molly White called We Can Have a Different Web. And she talks about this feeling that a lot of us have, which is that the internet just really sucks right now. And we remember the good old days of the internet when it seemed a lot less corporate and that it had a lot more sort of personal freedom to do what you wanted to. You weren't so locked into platforms. And I think the example for me is I had a Beast Wars website, which was like a popular TV show in the 90s and early 2000s. And it was like a Transformers type site. And, I wasn't trying to make money from it. I was just trying to share information about this show that I thought was like really fun as a kid. But then what happened is that instead of having those sort of independent, free websites like GeoCities and things like that, we shifted to a world where we have these big tech platforms, right? And the way that Molly and others have visualized this is those are the walled gardens. And you can see them here. They're these big walls, and they're very restrictive in a way, because if someone wanted to leave Facebook, for example, or Instagram, they would have to, potentially give up their followers, and there's no guarantee that their followers are going to go with them. And the problem is that these companies have their own motives and their own incentives. They very much want to keep you inside of those four walls and not to go to the free internet and to explore other places. Yeah, it's gotten so extreme at some of these tech companies that they literally will suppress your content if you try to post anything that gets a user to leave that walled garden. So for example, at X, if you post a tweet with an external link, then that tweet, it just gets completely suppressed and isn't shown to your followers, right? And I think for a lot of us as creators, we get really concerned with this because we would like to try something different, something outside the platforms, but we just have this concern that we could go and form something new, but what if there's just complete silence? And what if, no one comes with us? What if, we're unable to get the same functionality and stuff that we had in the walled gardens that is these big tech platforms? So what I really like about Molly's piece is that she allows us to get really practical and thinking about how we can have a different internet. And so she says, we can develop protocols, more resilient versions of those early footpaths that inherently resist the toll booths and border crossing gates established by the businesses with the walls. We can even develop our own community gardens with spaces for tenants that have their own models of governance, far beyond the single benevolent platform dictatorship model that inevitably grows less benevolent as money changes hands. So yeah, there's just this practical option of we can develop protocols so that when people want to, they can port content between platforms. They're not so locked into the walled garden, and it isn't so scary going out into that undeveloped, not yet built up part of the internet. But what I keep coming back to is if you look at the image, there is that limitless, not yet developed, but still available space on the internet that's still available to be cultivated. And that's like really hopeful and inspiring to me. So in case you didn't know, Molly, who wrote that article, is a really avid Wikipedia editor. And I've actually got a book that's coming out in August. And it's about the people who edit a internet encyclopedia. And if you're interested, you can get an advanced reader copy on NetGalley.